Nina's helping mommy clean the bottles. She got herself all wet. She had to change her shirt. Cal was feeling a little self-conscious, so he's working out. I made some changes last night. That's the original. And this is the new version. And so I fixed a lot of things that were wrong that made him not look like the guy, like the waiter, like George. His eyes mostly. Brought his nose and his mouth down and changed the shape of his head because he has a very round head, and for some reason this last one was kind of squashed at the top.
Oh, your hands are cold.
So it looks much better now. Also made a couple of things longer, and I'm gonna add maybe a few wrinkles here to make sure that he looks old enough once he prints, because yesterday's version looked very young. Once that's done, I'll add some rolls to the back of the neck, which were lost when I switched over to print it the second time. And then I'll redo the big collars and the back portion, because right now his posture is too straight, and that's definitely not the way that he stands. That looks much better now, much happier with what it looks like. Nina has a mouthful of ham, which she's been chewing and trying to wash down with ice instead of water. We were too busy encouraging, but she used her fork to grab a piece of French toast, dip it in her syrup, and then placed it in her mouth. Put the whole thing in there. Now she's using her hands. Uh-oh. Came out. We're back home, but while we were out, one of the people at the diner told us that it's supposed to snow again soon. A light one and then a heavy one. We have our car parked in a good place, and we can actually leave it there throughout all of this new snow. The problem is that we're running out of things that we normally buy at Target. So I might have to make either a really long walk, or maybe find somewhere else where I could buy them. Maybe I can order them. What's this? What is it? What is this?
Mermaid.
Close. Say manta ray.
Mermaid.
Manta ray.
No.
I'm not sure what she's knowing about.
No.
You want your pacifier?
No. See. No.
You want to go to rehab?
No.
She fell right to sleep like a minute after that. So I finished all of the changes so far. I've got an indentation on his nose and added some wrinkles to the forehead. Also, I made the collars big again and gave him a seam to his shirt, because without it, it looked more like a blouse. So this makes it look more like a man's button down. And added the roll to the back of his neck, which I guess we can see right now. There we go, little roll there to the back of his neck. Also gave him a little bit of a hunch there on his back, and I mean, even without color right now, it looks so much more like him than yesterday's model. Finish repairing all of the little tiny holes that are created during exporting to STL from the other program in which I make it in. And so now I'm going to save that and bring it into yet another program, so a third program which will slice it so that my 3D printer can understand all of the 3D work. So this is the program that I use to talk to the 3D printer and to send the file over to it so that it can print. And right now what it's doing is it's using another program called Slicer, which is down there bouncing around, and that's actually slicing this into about 13,000 layers, not 13,000, 1,300 layers, which will then be printed one at a time on the 3D printer. Slicing takes about 5 to 10 minutes, maybe just 5 on my computer. What I'm doing now is setting up the laptop to connect to the 3D printer so that I can start heating it up and making sure that it's producing its plastic layer nice and clean. So I'm going to turn on the heat after I connect, of course. Oh, I need to plug it in before I can connect. It's plugged in now. So now I'm going to connect to it via my laptop and heat it up. As I mentioned before, it needs to be at least 200 degrees to actually melt the plastic, but to 230 so that it gets it soft enough so that it just squeezes right through and I can make sure that everything's nice and clean. What I like to do is, even after I turn on the heat and it tells me the heat is on, the only way to check that really, if there's a connection, is to touch it, but that gets really hot rather quickly. So what I like to do is just check to see if it moves. So all that's working well, which means that it's definitely heating up. And I can kind of feel the heat if I hover close. Yep, it's getting pretty hot already. So once it reaches about 230 degrees, or exactly 230 degrees Celsius, I will push about 10 millimeters through, which is a tiny bit, about 3/4 of an inch. No, about 1/3 of an inch. It's a little bit. Meanwhile, I'll go back upstairs and see if the computer is done slicing. This is a good sign. It reached a temperature and it started to fall out on its own, which means it must be very clean because I didn't even have to push it through. Now I'm just going to lower the temperature back to 200 and wait for the other computer to finish slicing. It takes a while because it's not only is it 1,300 layers, but it also has to create support material for the pieces that overhang, like the chin part doesn't have anything underneath, so it needs to calculate a support material for that. And also the inside is hollow, but it needs to have some support so that it can do things like the top of the head and the shoulders. So all of that needs to be calculated as well, and then that also needs to get sliced. It's going to take a while. So at this point, it's finished slicing everything and created all of the support material. I can see it by layer if I'd like. By doing this, then I can see how it's going to be built and where all the support material is going to be. But what I need to do now is just save this and send it to my laptop downstairs. I'm downstairs now and I just set it to print, I believe. Yes. So what it's doing right now is it uses a program to level itself. So by touching those 3 points, it figures out if anything is off level and it compensates for it through computation, and then it begins to print. It has an estimated job time of 9 hours, but I'm sure that that is completely wrong. The thing it's building right now is called a skirt, and it does this basically to show you the perimeter of where it's going to be building, And also to clean out the nozzle one more time before actually printing. So this part right here is the actual 3D print. So far, it's looking pretty good, but I'm just gonna have to wait for about 15 minutes or 20 minutes to really be able to tell what it's gonna look like.
Where are you? Baby.
Baby, look. So Nina woke up happy, and she spent about 10 minutes hugging me while Mommy and I finished our episode of Naruto that we were watching.
Showtime.
Nina.
Oh.
Nina's playing with a very old-fashioned toy. Not anymore. It was one of these water ring pressured things made to look like a PS Vita for some reason. It even says PS Vita on it.
Hello. It's go. Bye-bye, go.
What is that, Nina?
Hooray.
What is it? What's that? It's a cat. What's that one over there? What's that one? That one over there, what's that? What's that? This is her old pacifier that we're trying to use for Cal. Oh boy. And she just found it right now. And she is becoming a drooling machine.
Okay, Cal.
Are you hungry? Yes. Cal's always hungry. What is that, Nina? What is it? Drum. Is Nina a bunny?
Color Symphony.
Kitty.
Color Symphony. What color is that?
Hello.
Yellow, yes.
You go, Dada. You.
There's orange.
Nuts.
Orange. And there's blue, purple.
Let's go.
Did you see the blue? It's up there, blue. And there's purple, it's really pretty. You think purple is pretty? Say purple.
Papa.
And there's red. Say red.
Red.
We're gonna read Nina's 7 books.
Duck.
Yes, look. And we're getting started. Or she's getting started without me. So I'm going to get to that before she gets upset. I'm not sure how I got so late, but by the time we actually got her into the bed after the books, it was already 9 p.m. She's still awake, and it's 9:10 now, but she's laying down in her bed, and I'm pretty sure she'll fall asleep. Good night, Nina.
Good night, Nina.
Good night, Cal.
Good night, Cal.
Sleep tight.
We will.